Welcome back to the underground layer of Stringman Guitars. I believe this is a fairly new guitar. There's not a lot of signs of play on this thing at all. See, there are two little dimples, but the camera doesn't want to pick that up. Yeah, they're there though. 1, 2. Got the mini humbuckers. The really pointy Firebird feet. We have a 9-piece neck-through design. A couple minor, scratches that probably could be buffed out, but this guy's a player, so it's going to have some play mark in it. Noting the overwrapped stop bar, but in the otherwise, this thing is in darn good condition. Couple marks right there where they've been in there before, but a little bit of wear right there on that beveled edge. Yeah, you can see it there. Couple little dings. Can't pick that up. There we go, right there in that glare. Little zigzag ding there. But pretty good shape otherwise. Okay, well, she's in town for a setup, so we're going to get her on the, just knocked over my string winder. We'll get her on here and get some strings on her and do a proper setup on it. Get some measurements. Anyhow, let's get the camera mounted. I'll be right back. One thing I notice here that we have it on the bench. Somebody's been in here with a screwdriver, and you can really see that, I mean, that's not how to turn these. You take the tension off the string and you move the saddle up and down as needed, and that's how you do that. You don't do it by turning it with tension. That's how you get your chrome to get all defunkified here. So anyhow, I just got a call from the vet that my mom's cat is done being looked at, so I have to take off. So I will be back probably tonight to do this work. Till then, see you later. Alright, welcome back to Stringman Guitars Underground Lair. And what we're doing here is we're loosening off the strings from our Firebird. And it has a locking mechanism in it here. And what you do is you loosen up off your tension at the bottom, and then you unloosen here, which then leaves you the string access in order to get at your string. So let's do this here. Get it pretty slack. Loosen this up, And locking tuners are the only way to go. And I really like these gearless tuners it just has. So as you watch me do this, in the horrible light of the underground lair, the dusty underground lair. But yeah, string locking tuners are just the greatest thing. Every guitar I have, with the exception of my bass, has them on there. And they just come off like so. So we'll come back to do the restringing after I get the camera resituated. Hold please. Okay, so the first thing we want to do once the strings are off, and we know that there is, on measuring the first time with the strings on, the relief was way too low. So we're going to loosen up the truss rod just a little bit, give it about 1/4 of a turn to loosen it up. Because Gibson wants 12 thous here, and I had about 9. So in the meantime, clean up some of the stuff here. I can't express what a beautiful guitar this is. So the other thing is, I'm going to tape off around the body and the pickups just a little bit, so bear with me, I'll be right back. Okay, my favorite way to clean off the fingerboard, a lot of people use razor blades and scrape them. Nonsense. Simple green and a toothbrush. Not too much, just enough to get her wet. That way you get all the DNA and goop off of there. And for my next trick, we're not going to use lemon oil, because lemon oil has solvent in it, and no matter how much they tell you at the guitar stores and the different forums, solvents will pull moisture out. We don't want to do that. We want to keep moisture in. So we take a little rag and then we wipe all the original DNA off of here. And as if you've seen my other special videos, we're going to use a little bit of 4/0 steel wool, and we're going to clean up some of the, there's nothing, there's no dents in the frets or anything, but it's always nice to have a nice shine on them, makes them smoother to bend, the strings and all that stuff. So with that, we are going to use one of Uncle Stu's fret protectors. That's too small. There we go. And all it is, kids, is a stainless steel piece of probably 20 thousandths, like I said, steel wool, and it allows you to protect your frets while you polish them. Well, more or less protect your fingerboard while you polish your frets. Now, I'm not taking much off here at all. I'm just enough to put a little shine back on there. Once again, just gets a little bit of smudge off of there from how much it was played, you know, since it's had a little bit of attention. And one of the reasons I do tape off the pickups, well, at least the neck pickup, because I'm getting close to that, is you don't want steel wool hanging on to all your magnetic parts. That just becomes annoying. Kind of like watching me do all this tedious work. But it's all fun stuff, you know. Okay, that bit of work is done. Go back here with the little paintbrush and get all that steel wool off of there. And going back to the solvent, let's see here. If you use linseed oil, you put just a little bit on and it goes a long way, and it not only works into the fibers of any of the porous woods. Now, you don't do this on a maple neck, but ebony and rosewood, or whatever the new stuff that they're using instead of rosewood, it's all porous wood. So this stuff will condition the wood, and at the same time it will seal the wood. So really all you have to do the next like 10 times you change strings is to just wipe it like I did with a little bit of the simple green and a toothbrush, and there's no need to re-oil it because this seals it. Now, eventually, after playing and bending strings and stuff like that, you will have to reapply, but not nearly as much as when you use this stuff, because this has solvent in it, will dry out your fingerboard. So let me get on that, get a different rag, throw that away. One of my favorite tools in the shop is an old t-shirt. Cut up little pieces. You get them at on Amazon or any art supply store where you might want to go to buy t-shirts to do tie-dye or any sort of custom t-shirt stuff if you're into that. If that's one of your hobbies, that's why they sell that stuff. So you gotta take this little thing here, little piece of t-shirt, and that's right, linseed oil is very, very hard to open. So we get the old channel locks and we take it off, put the channel locks back so we don't scratch a guitar in the process. Alright, they're safely out of the way. And there goes the lid. So this stuff, as you see, kind of goops up in there, and that's the good part. So I'm just going to put that much on, and the way I do this typically is I'll just dab on down the fingerboard. And it looks like it needs a little more. Yeah, this will do fine. So what you do is you rub it in, and then, because this stuff will stink your case up if you don't get the excess off of it. See, there is the, I don't know if you can see that here. I'll pick up the camera real quick so you can see. And it kind of gives you the same effect as your lemon oil, but it's actually sealing that wood. So let me set this back up in the movie. There we go. Alright, get rid of that. Find my lid. There it is. And this can here is maybe, I've used about that much of it, and I don't know, 2 years. So we get another piece of clean cloth. Always keep a pile of clean cloths. And you rub off the excess before it dries. And so far we have accomplished treating the fingerboard. And brightening up the fret wire a little bit. Get rid of as much of this as we can, because you don't want it smelling up your case. Yeah. But it's sealed now. By the time the customer gets this back, it'll have dried and it won't stink. And you also don't want to, like, a lot of people will take these lemon oils. I'm no exception to the rule, because some customers just say, "Hey, put this stuff on." All right. Tell them what it's going to do. All right, whatever. So you just drop this on the fingerboard and then wipe it off. And but with the linseed oil, you want to use a rag, because you don't want it to get on the back of the neck and mess with the finish. So let's throw some strings on it. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'll actually shoot some of the restringing on this so that you can get an idea of how the mechanism works, because there are no YouTube videos on how to really do this right. So stand by, I'll be back. Okay, so take a good look at the fretboard there. Get it in the movie, Vic. There you go. There we are. And we have our stop bar in the movie. and we got it strung so that it'll wrap over. And the theory there is if rather than going up under, and if we can zoom in on the bridge, where's the bridge? There's the bridge. On the back of the bridge here, there are 3 marks from the low wound strings that, because they're coming up from underneath, they were hitting the back of the bridge, and that should never happen. So you could either do one of 2 things. You can raise up the stop bar, which will take that break angle off of there so that it's not touching it. It should not touch that at all, and because it kills the sustain. And or you could just wrap it over the top, which a lot of people do, and that's what this gentleman wants. So we're going to do that. I'm going to put some of my guitar grease on the saddles, and we're going to string it up. So I just want to point that out. And that trick that I found is to use one of these pink erasers, right here, jam it underneath the stop bar, piece of tape. You don't have to worry about it falling out. Great idea. So, okay, hold on. Okay, so we've got the low E. Feed it through the hole. Feed it through the hole. And over the top of the stop bar, on the nut. Hold on, I forgot to use my guitar grease. Hold on. Okay, guitar grease installed. So, I'm going to pour tight as we can. Tight as we can. And then we take, you can't see it, the locking mechanism. And you take it and crank it down. And Gibson says to crank it until finger tight. And at the bottom, it's the Steinberger. Let's see, can you see that? Steinberger gearless tuning system. So make sure that the ball end is pulled all the way into the stop bar. Run the string through the hole again and repeat 5 more times. So nut slot, bridge slot, pull as tight as you can. Tighten string down until it stops. And tune it up. You see that the unlike your typical regular guitars, the post isn't turning, and that's because it's a gearless system. Once again, make sure it's over stop bar and the ball end is in the nut slot, run your string into the slot, the hole. Come on, in there. There we go. Just wasn't loosened enough. It was loose enough to pull it out. Wasn't loose enough to cut in. So once again, nut slot. Saddle slot. Pull it tight. Tighten it down. Till don't tighten no more. Gibson should use these on all their guitars. This is just lovely. So you get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up and I'll be back to do the setup. Okay, now that we are all tuned up to pitch, Gibson wants, I don't know if I pick it up, they want 12 thousandths, measured at the 7th fret. Some people say you got to use a straight edge, but if you put a capo on the 1st fret, hold down at the last fret, you have a straight edge, and you see if your feeler gauge will slip in there, and it just barely does. So that is the right height. Now, we want to check our string height. And factory specs are on the 12th fret. They want 5/64ths. And on the treble side, they want 3/64ths. So bass side 5/64ths. And treble side 3/64ths, and my phone's going off, so hold on. Okay, we've got the right relief in the neck. Now there's this little thing that's always been a matter of contention among people who work on guitars and hobbyists and so forth. Whenever you have your guitar on the bench, all measurements should be checked in the playing position, because this guitar is almost, strings are still stretching in. Okay, it's bang on in tune right now. So we are going to lay her down on the support. We're going to check the tuning. It is about 2 cents flat. And there's the train. As the strings get higher, they're less out of tune. Like that's just barely out of tune. You go down to the B, it's more out of tune. G is 1 cent flat. The D is 1 cent flat. The A is almost 2 cents flat, and the E is 2 cents flat. So, note to all you hobbyists, all measurements, do them in the playing position with just string tension on the neck, no other tension. Hey, we're in tune. So it does make a difference. A long time ago, before I knew anything about this, I had a Parkwood guitar. And I took it to the, well, we're not going to name names, but at the big box guitar store. And they told me that it's ready to go, ready to pick up. So I picked it up and I played it, and it sounded a little out of whack. So I asked him for a tuner. This is back before we had the clip-on tuners. So he gave me one of these type tuners here. We plugged it in, and in playing position, we discovered that we are not intonated because the neck was bowed a little bit from sitting on the bench. So basically he checked the intonation by checking it here. Well, that puts the whole guitar out of tune. He says, I've got a $1,200 Peterson, or however much they cost at the time, and it doesn't lie. I said, yes, but you're laying it down on its neck, and it had a thin neck. Maybe some of the Gibsons with a really thick neck on them, like the 50s Gibsons, or the deep V-cut Fender necks, they could probably lay on the bench and not be affected by the weight of the guitar. But you get these slim profile necks, Gibsons, 60s, 70s series, style neck, all your shredder guitars, your Ibanez, your Deans, and all those guys, they have super thin necks. With the exception of a couple companies like, for instance, Kiesel. They put carbon rods on either side of the truss rod, so that once it's set, it doesn't move. So you can lean on it and it won't bend. Whereas most other manufacturers do not do that process, and therefore you've got to set them up in the playing position. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and check the string height. Like I said, they want 5/64 at 12 fret, and we are a slight bit high. We're at about 6/64, and they want 3/64, and we're at 5/64. So the bridge has got to come down. I thought it looked a little high, so we're going to do that, and we'll get that in tune. We'll do the next step. So stay tuned. Okie dokie, we got our string height set at the 12th fret. We're in tune, and we're in the process of setting our intonation. So far, the E and the A are bang on. Once again, in playing position. Not really bang on, it's oh, it is. D is sharp. So we are going to take our little Uncle Stu screwdriver, get the proper flathead, think is this one here. It is. Okay, we'll put our extension on there. This is the greatest little tool set I ever bought. So, he said the D is sharp, and that saddle is cranked all the way forward. Let's make it a little less. Let's give that a whack. Still sharp. By the way, there is no way. See the screws are in the back. Screw heads are on the back. They could be in the front. They could be in the back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. No set on there. It's preference. Still sharp. Still sharp. And if you have to go all the way back to the far end of the saddle, and you run out of room, if you run out of room, you still can take the screw out, flip the saddle, put the screw back in, and you're still good to go. We're getting closer. Almost. Normally not the shape you would expect this to be in, but it's what the tuner says, not what you think it should be. Because every guitar comes off the assembly line, screwed together by hand, and so on and so forth. So you'd expect these first three to be sort of angling up, and then these three to be angling up. Not necessarily the case. And we are intonated. We're intonated. And you don't want to push too hard when you're getting the... You just want to get the note. G is in. G is sharp. Do you want to watch this whole thing? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have our Firebird By the way, it's a 2016 model. Actually assembled on December 1st of 15, so that would tell me it's a 16 model. Because it was on this card. I don't know if you can make that out, but yeah. So we've got it, strings changed, string height, neck relief, string heights adjusted for the pickups, intonation, all the electronics work as they should. So it's going to sit overnight, come back and check it in the morning, and if all is good, you usually do have to come back and do a little bit of small adjustments because the wood will settle because we moved the truss rod and all that stuff. But we're going to call it done. And please like us on Facebook, Stringman Guitars, and please like and subscribe, post any comments as long as they're clean on the YouTube channel, Stringman Guitars. So thank you. Have a happy rest of your Saturday.